Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to today's Community Connection series on meditation and mindfulness tips. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. Her name is Kiranjeet Desi, and she is a nurse here at Community Hospice. Kiran has been with us for about 9 years. She started as a nurse, has had various roles with us. Started as a nurse, went into our triage department, became a float nurse, a case manager, and finally, she became an admission nurse and now serves as our community educator, our clinical educator, and does a wonderful job in her current position. So we are truly blessed to have her join us today and share a wealth of information in regards to meditation and mindfulness and how important it is to take time to care for ourselves and our well-being. And so with that, I don't want to take too much time, so I am going to pass it off to Karen, but want to remind you that at any time, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to enter them into that chat box. I will be monitoring it throughout the presentation and we'll be happy to interject and ask Karen those questions for you. So with that, again, I'd like to welcome you to today's Community Connections. We look forward to having you. And Karen, I will now turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen, so much. Welcome, everybody. What a wonderful time we're going to have today with meditation and being mindful and treating ourselves the way that we really deserve to be treated. So hopefully this is going to be something that we all need. I know my day has already been very stressful, so it's definitely going to help me. So without further ado, we will just move forward. One of the things that happen, especially with COVID and the changes in our world around us, is that we can lose the center of who we are. And sometimes we're at the brink and it doesn't take much. So where does this go? In the midst of this ever-changing world and the constant threats to our health and our safety, it's so easy to become anxious and overwhelmed by the many day-to-day tasks and demands on our time and attention, as well as the constant pull to social media, the news. All of these different things just bombard us day in and day out. And so it's not hard for us to find ourselves in a position where we are just either feeling angry or anxious or just not ourselves. We don't feel whole, we feel depleted. Sometimes we're feeling very isolated, especially with COVID. We can feel very, very isolated, overly exhausted, and we don't know where to turn. And so meditation can be one of those ways that we can really help to unblock that those outside forces. Let's look at who we believe that we are. How do we find our center? How do we regain our control when we feel like we've lost ourselves? We can start by looking at who are we, right? What defines us? How do we define ourselves? And in our meditation and our meditative states, we can think about these things. Are we defined by who we are in our family circles, in our work circles? I always say that I'm a daughter first, a daughter-in-law next, and a mother third, and then I'm a nurse, because those are how I wear my hats most of the time. We define ourselves also by the work that we do. Definitely a nurse defines who I am. It's what I find my purpose in often, but it doesn't make me a whole being, right? That is just a hat that I wear. But if we ask ourselves, what truly makes me me? I'm a daughter, a daughter-in-law, a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a nurse, I'm a dog mom. But what really defines me as a whole? Who am I at the center of all of these things? And what if we looked at, what our personality looks like? What are our greatest attributes? Are we compassionate? Are we patient? Are we friendly? Do those things fall into the roles that we play day to day? So contemplate as we go through this. What are your greatest attributes? It's not something that we take time to really pay attention to, and certainly it's not something that we focus on. We might see these attributes in other people and think to ourselves, wow, I wish I was that courageous or that respectful or perhaps that selfless. I don't have that. We're very good at negative self-talk, not so good at building ourselves up. So that's something that we are going to work on today. And then learning how to take time out. Often when I say that to people, they laugh at me. Sometimes I think, depending on where we are in our lives, it can be fearful to us. We don't want to spend time alone. We've had enough alone time. We're feeling very isolated, and feel that we don't have enough people around us, or we're not connecting. But what this time to ourselves is really going to draw out of us is to get comfortable with who we are, to get comfortable with where we belong, and just belonging to ourselves so that we can fill ourselves and then give back to everybody else. Depleted people don't have much to give back. And under these current circumstances, I think a lot of us have felt that we've given and given and given and given, and we've not had time to replenish any of that. So that is something we're definitely going to work on. Definitely taking time to ourselves may feel extravagant. Often we feel like it's a waste of time because our society has really conditioned us to find our worth in being busy, right? Anybody that you talk to, anybody you come across, how are you? Everyone's response is, I'm busy. I'm busy. What are we busy doing? Running here, running there. Do we feel fulfilled? We couldn't really say. And so we're going to learn how to make our days more productive rather than just being busy, so that we feel like we've accomplished something. And even in our alone time and taking time out, we are going to make it a productive time so that we can actually feel like we've accomplished something and we feel whole. So we're going to learn how to be still. It's one of the most difficult things that we can do. Our chaplain did this exercise with us not long ago, and she said, okay, I'm going to put my timer on and we're going to be still for 5 whole minutes. And I was beside myself. I'm like, 5 minutes without anything to do? I've got so much on my plate, I can't. 3 minutes were wasted trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these 5 minutes. And 2 minutes is where I was able to breathe and learn to just be. And so deep breathing is one of the most truly essential parts of our lives. So if we can find the stillness, take a deep breath in, and we're going to breathe through our nose. Deep breath in and deep breath out. And we're going to just find a position to focus on. Sit up straight, and that doesn't mean that you have to be so very rigid, but it's just a matter of rolling your shoulders back a little bit and relaxing. If you're comfortable, put your hands in your lap or on the desk and just take a deep breath. Deep breathing can really benefit you in so many different ways. Morgan Freeman said, learning to be still, to really be still and let life happen, that stillness becomes radiance. It's how we project our goodness out into the world. It can redefine success and creating a life of well-being. It can help us with wisdom and wonder. Finally taking time to smell those roses as you take those breaths in. Deep breathing in the morning will rejuvenate you. Deep breathing at night will help to relax you. Just going to give you a few minutes just to be still. The stillness will help you to shift your focus from the negative things and redirect it into the more positive and productive thought processes. Learning to be still is work. It is a habit that you have to form. It is not something that we're in tune to, and so then we really have to work at it. And sometimes we'll be able to do it for 30 seconds and slowly build up and slowly build up. And just, that can be something that we work towards up to 5 minutes a day. That 5 minutes can be brought into any part of your day, anytime you need to refocus and just breathe and rejuvenate. Okay, this is one of my most favorite pictures. I want you to really focus in on this picture. I want you to close your eyes. Keep that mental picture of what you were looking at. And feel that sun radiating on your face. You should be able to hear that sea as it rushes in and as it rushes out. It's in no rush to go anywhere. It does its job. It flows back and it flows forward. I want you to feel that warm breeze. It's comforting. It's soothing. With your eyes closed, as you hear that water rush in, I want you to take a deep, long, slow breath in through your nose. I want you to focus just on the breath. I want you to see it fill your lungs. I want you to hold that breath for just a few seconds. And as you hear that ocean flow back to the sea, I want you to breathe it out slowly. I'm going to do this 5 times. Deep breath in. Fill those lungs. Hold. And breathe out. Slowly, allowing your lungs to collapse. All the while letting that sun just warm you, rejuvenate you, strengthen you. And breathe in. And hold. And breathe out. And every exhale, we're going to take out every negative thought that we have. And when we breathe in again, as we fill up our lungs, we're going to fill it with positive things. Things that will make your day worthwhile. As we shift our focus from the stress to the comfort and the strength. And breathe out, taking away again, putting into that water as it rushes out. All the things that are stressing you and causing you anxiety. And deep breath in. Breathing in love and patience and kindness. Breathing out the hatred, the fear, the anxious thoughts. And finally, last breath in. Fully centered, ready, prepared. And breathe out. Feeling full and complete. You may open your eyes if you have not done so. And I hope that helps. Mindful meditation really is becoming aware of your thoughts and of your body. Breathing, as we talked about, is the most vital function. The rush of oxygen to the heart and to the lungs flows to your brain and feeds every vital organ and tissue in our body. It is the most important thing that we can do throughout our day. We breathe. It's a natural process in our bodies. It's an automatic thing that we do without thinking. But when we're mindful of breathing, we realize that we do not ever deeply breathe anything in. We're just surviving. And what we want to do is to live. And so we want to breathe to live, to feed every single tissue, every single cell inside of our bodies. And this is being mindful, thoughtful, understanding that the breath helps us to relax, helps us to center, feeds every cell, and strengthens who we are. Here's another scene that is calming, soothing, can be centering. It's another good one to use for the breathing exercises if this is more of your scene. Here I hear stillness, maybe a bird in the distance. I was just out up in the mountains a few weeks ago, and there was a home with this beautiful wind chime that just sounded so musical, very different from anything I'd heard before. And that just so drew so much peace into me. And it resonated so deeply. I wanted to just stay in that place. And so I did. I just walked slowly, and it's not my way to be slow when walking, but I just took very slow, thoughtful steps, just breathing and walking and taking in everything that was around me. So if this is something that would really center you and draw and resonate with you, this might be a better option than the scene. Everybody has their preferences. Another wonderful thing to do when you have limited time, if you're really feeling very stressed out and focus and being still is difficult for you, candle gazing is a wonderful way to really be still and get out of your own head. Again, you set the timer for those 3 to 5 minutes. You want to make sure that you're in a quiet place where the TV is not blaring, there's not a lot of noise. It can be done with your partner, it can be done alone, it can be done with the person you're caring for if you are a caregiver. That way, it's energy that flows back and forth between you. And the way that you do this is you light the candle, and you want to make sure that you're at least 3 to 5 feet away from this candle once it's lit. And you're not going to be closing your eyes, though you can. Your purpose in this is to focus on the flame and the flicker, very much like when we light a fire over the winter time and we just really enjoy the way the flames move as the logs burn. Your thought process is really just to focus on that flame. And as your mind starts to wander, you're going to bring your thought process, your mind, your gaze back to that light and just watch the light. So we can do this very quickly. It's a very easy, non-negotiable way of doing things. I'm going to give you a candle to look at. Okay. And if you're sitting in a comfortable position, it can be on a chair. You do not have to sit on the floor. You can choose to use meditation cushions or couch cushions. You can do it on your bed, whatever is most comfortable for you. If you're at work and you want to take time to do this briefly, then you can't usually light a candle at your workplace, but you can certainly put up a picture that will draw you, and this is one of those pictures. So you're going to gaze at that candle, and you're just going to focus that and fix your gaze. You're not going to fidget, you're not going to blink. Your eyes are most likely going to water as it gets used to looking at that bright light. It's normal. But you're simply going to continue to look at that flame until you physically are unable to. And you may then either take your eyes off of the flame, or you can just close your eyes. When you feel ready, open your eyes again and refocus your gaze. When your 3 to 5 minutes are over, you are simply going to finish by closing your eyes. See the image of that candle flame in your mind's eye. And you're going to direct this image to your third eye. Your third eye, as they call it in yoga, is right in the middle, right here, in your forehead. And it just draws all your focus. And it allows you to center yourself. And you take that deep breath, and it allows you just to be at peace. When the image completely fades, you reopen your eyes and you repeat the process. And you can do this, if you have time, as many times as you need to, within those 3 to 5 minutes, and longer if you prefer. We don't recommend that you do this particular meditation too often. It can be a little harsh on your eyes, but 2 to 3 times a week is very helpful. Finally, we're going to talk about life as perspective. We should learn to laugh. Laughter is a wonderful medicine. It's good for the bones. It's good for your health. Find reasons to laugh. Watch comedies. Enjoy company. Enjoy the moment that you happen to be in. Just in that moment. We're so good at thinking about the future or the next step or the next thing that's on our plate, or often we punish ourselves thinking about the past, but it takes away from the present. And we want to just be here. And so let's find things to enjoy. Listening to the laughter of our children, of our grandchildren, of our great-grandchildren, if we're so blessed to have them, to our animals, to just having a home, a place to stay, the warmth or the coolness of the place that we live, enjoyment in the place that we sit or we sleep, having running water, taking a shower, taking time to take a bath. Water is so very healing. Learning to live life to the fullest. Again, that busyness that we are so consumed by doesn't allow us to live life to the fullest. We do not enjoy the very simple task of eating a meal. Whether it's together or alone, our taste buds don't even get the opportunity to taste the food that we put in. We don't chew 10 to 12 times before we swallow. Simple tasks, simple things to do. Play music. Whatever it is that brings enjoyment or joy to your life, do it. Aromatherapy is another wonderful way to bring joy into your life. Fragrance is so rejuvenating or calming. It can help in so many ways. And then knowing your self-worth. Really want to keep that negative self-talk to a minimum. You have been wonderfully and fearfully made. There are flaws in everybody around us. We all have things that we don't like about ourselves, but let's not focus on the things that we need to work on. Let's focus on the things that we've already gained and gleaned. Our past does not determine our future. Today, the next minute, what we're doing right now can determine the next moment and the future as it stands. I'm going to release the weight of those regrets. It's just a weight. It's just a punishment. It's not benefiting you. Find forgiveness. Learn to let things go. That is another weight that we punish our own selves with when we do not forgive. So when you're in these meditative states and you're sitting, just to breathe and say, I let that go. I forgive. And sometimes the forgiveness, depending on the hurt, it takes many times to do that, to repeatedly forgive. It's okay if it takes time. To tell yourself you're not afraid. Don't be afraid of your feelings. We have feelings. They regulate us sometimes. They help us to know when things are right and things are not quite right. And so figuring out those feelings, sitting with them, wrestling with them, and then fighting through, knowing who you are, what you are, and what you want to gain. Are you trustworthy? Having a grateful mindset. Always living with gratitude. If we are full of gratitude, it's hard to be negative about things. It's hard to be hateful towards others. We want to celebrate every moment and every person and every being. If we all live this way, and if we feel this way, if we build these things inside of us, everything around us will be so much more valuable to us. We will have value. People will see value in us. We will see value in others. Take time to just be. It's okay if you don't get it right every time. Apologize and move forward, but don't get stuck in the I'm not perfect mode. Remember that you are uniquely beautiful. That you love who you are. You've walked a long journey to be who you are today. It's been a hard trek. Life's been a learning lesson. Learn to be comfortable with who you are. You worked hard towards it. Accept that. And breathe that in. Treat yourself with kindness so you can treat others with kindness too. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And we can focus on either one so much nicer if we focus on the strengths. After all, we're all very aware of our weaknesses. So let's build each other up. And as we do that day by day, we can be fulfilled. We'll be less isolated. We'll find unity. And we can live a good and wonderful life, being able to enjoy ourselves alone or enjoy ourselves with others. And others will enjoy us. And it can bring so much harmony. I hope you've enjoyed this time. I hope you've had time to just be still. I hope it's given you things to think about. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all that you have done. and will continue to do. Blessings to you all. Have a good day.
Karen, thank you so much for your time and for taking a moment to walk us through that. It was a very special time for me, and I think our attendees probably would agree. At this time, I'd like to again invite those that are on to ask any questions or leave any comments. You may do that in the chat box, and I'd be happy to present those to Karen. So if you have any questions, we'll take those now and just give you a moment. I also, Karen, if you could just move the slide to the next one, please. Thank you. I also would like to invite you all to join us next month for our next Community Connection series, and that is on grief support, what to expect. The date is August the 25th, same time, 12 o'clock, and the link that you used today will also work for next month's virtual series. We're hoping that in the future, we're able to invite you back to our offices to join us in person, as well as have a virtual offering for those that would prefer that method. But we will release that information as soon as we're able to do so, but we are working on that. So again, grief support, what to expect on August the 25th at 12 o'clock. And just one comment, it said, thank you for this great webinar. So Karen, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're busy. And thank you to all of our attendees that joined us today. We hope that you learned something, and we hope that you're able to take some of these tips and apply them in your lives to help us just slow down a little bit and take care of ourselves. So with that, we'll go ahead and end our webinar. And again, we wish you all well. Please take care.